I've got the Vulture pistol from ICS. It's their newest offering, just dropped, and it's in the 4-inch 1911 category. So this is gonna be your kind of your short commander style 1911 pistol. So it's not as unwieldy, it's not a little bit longer. It kind of makes it a bit more compact, easy to carry, but not a lot of sacrifices because it's still a good balance. This is gonna be around the same size as most of your compact pistols out there when you're looking at like a Glock, like a, let's say a 19-ish, that's what's gonna be, you know, in that same family of pistols. And it kind of balances size and weight. And I'm gonna be talking about what makes this pistol so special, what's under the hood, what's outside, and then some of the things they've done to make this thing stand out from the pack. All right, like I said, this is the newest offering from ICS. It's the Vulture pistol, kind of an interesting name choice, but I'll go with it. And it does have some neat features. It takes a lot of what they did with their Korth pistol. If you did follow that, I did a video on the Korth, good grief, probably like almost 2 years ago. I'll link it up here in the corner so you can check it out. And it also uses some of the technology in their Revo system, which I also did a video on around that same time. So both of those are jammed inside of this one package, but they went the route of kind of dropping the license, making some changes to the slide, some other components to make this its own unique pistol. So let's talk about the externals first. Outside, you've got a, of course, this is pretty much all metal except for the grips, essentially, really. So metal outer barrel, we have a metal slide. The slide does have some pretty cool cuts on it right there. You can kind of see for like, you can kind of see the inner barrel in there, the actual spring inside, a very large white mark on the front sight. But when you look down, it just kind of makes it white. It kind of works, and it's kind of a matte finish, so it's not gonna cause a lot of shine in your eyes. Moving on down the barrel, you have a little bit of like silver here on the extractor. That's just kind of like to help it line up. If you look there, that will line up into that notch, keep everything kind of nice and smooth. That's when it goes into the, you can see it kind of there with the barrel. Kind of let the focus hit for you, and it locks in. On that, the back, we have fiber optic sights. Those add to that sight picture. So if you have any kind of ambient light, you'll be able to pick that thing up, no problem. Grab the ambient light, have the front white on it. On the side for trademarks, we're just looking at pretty simple. It says Vulture, it says 45 competition pistol, and that is it. On the side, they went pretty clean with it. You do have some good serrations front and back. Like I said, that sight is nice and rounded. I like how rounded it is too. It's not gonna catch going in and out of a holster. And of course you have the fiber optic sights like I talked about here on the back. Hammer itself is on the skeletonized side. Let me take the slide out there so you can see it. Nice crisp pop on the slam forward. We do have a safety. So if I pull this back, safety is not on this side. So safety is just set up for righty. So if you're a lefty, you might have to kind of deal with the righty side safety, but that safety is gonna prevent you from firing. Also, like every other 1911 out there, you have the grip safety, so you're not gonna be able to fire this without actually pressing in the grip safety on that. Moving over to the bottom half of this thing, since we've kind of talked about the safety, full metal lower frame here. Like I said, we got the dovetail grip with the extended big beaver dovetail, we're gonna call this thing, way out. So you're looking at it here, it's not gonna end up biting your hand when that hammer comes down. There's really no chance. It allows you to get that really high purchase on the pistol, like that, and not have that hammer bite in that soft spot of your hand, which is like that part right there. Moving on the front, we got the rail segment. Rail segment's actually quite lengthy for a compact pistol here, and it lets you put pretty much any tactical light or laser on there. It's got, like I said, it's the barrel length from front of trigger guard over to the front, about the same as a Glock 19 on that. Trigger guard itself has a nice little detail here, a little flare out in the front. That's kind of good if you do want to wrap your finger. Some people like to do that, wrap their finger around the trigger guard like that. And I'm not gonna put my finger in the trigger well, trigger itself, but you know, like to wrap your finger, and it gives you a little bit of a grip here. So if you kind of look, let me see if I can get that focus stick pop again. It lets you grab that way and not have it fall off. So it gives you that little hook. Kind of like that, it gives you a little extra stability if that's your shooting style. As for the trigger itself, it is adjustable. Inside we do have, you can kind of see right there, there's a little hole, I'll put my hand behind it, that allows you to go in with an Allen key in there and adjust the trigger pull itself, which is nice. You can customize this pistol to your correct trigger pull. Also the magazine release, which is again set up for righties, is right here, and it's oversized. It's nice, it sticks out really far, so it's kind of easy to get to, but not too far to where it's going to get in the way and you're gonna accidentally drop your magazine out. Onto the grips. They are 1911 style, and you can put real ones on here. They're interchangeable. They are Tokyo Marui spec. So if you have your favorite 1911 grips, you can ditch these plastic ones, you can upgrade them, make it customized, do your own thing. Just pick them up, 2 screws on each side, pop these off, pop them on, just like you would a real one. No problem there. The actual guide rod, which is interesting because it's not a guide rod, it's kind of cool how they did it. We'll talk about that in the internal build here in a second, is silver. They have like 3 little dots on it. It gives it this cool effect, but actually that's just cosmetic because the way they designed the inside of this pistol is different. And they did that for a reason, for smooth action and for stability. And it's kind of cool how they did it. But before we talk about that, I wanted to tease you on that one because you got to stick around and see that. It's how they did the magazine well. If you notice here, you got the flares there and there. And on the green gas mag I have here, it's got little fat little sides here. So it's designed to work with CO2, hence those flares, or a green gas mag. Now this one I have here is green gas, is a 14+1, so 14 single stack right in this. They do have a loading hole right here, which is nice. So you can pull the follower down, load in right there where my finger is, and let it go forward so you don't have to load from the top. It's always a good one. And like I said too, it does use the Revo system. So on the valve itself, it's adjustable so you can play with the power output. You can adjust this up and down and gas efficiency. So you can, if you want more efficiency, you can dial the power down and get that out of your pistol. If you want more power, you can dial it up and get that as well. Rounding out the slide itself, they do have kind of the little wings here on the side I like so much. Let me see if I can, there we go. See that there and here, those little ones that allow you to grab it real easy and rack it and grab, you know, it gives you a really good kind of pull back. And that segues to something that's interesting. I want you to hear this sound. I'm gonna put it near the mic. Very interesting for a pistol, right? You don't normally hear that type sound. And it's because of how they design their internals. So let me pop this out. It's live, we're just gonna leave that on the floor and pick it up later. And you have this slide off. What you'll notice when I take this slide off is you've got a piece here that would normally just be the front. It's got little side wings on it, right? You see those little notches and it rides into the grooves here. So instead of it having these rails that run down the entire length of the slide, they stop here. And then this piece, and then of course the barrel too, this is the part of the barrel, rides on an inner channel in here. So it provides a much more stable platform for shooting. Doesn't let the barrel ride at all, so the barrel's locked in place. So when you fire, so instead of having that barrel rise and it comes back down when the slide goes back into battery, it actually slides forward. So basically the slide will go back and the barrel normally would rise up a little bit, and then as it slides forward and chambers the round, or in this case the BB, the barrel would kind of go back to position. This one is a fixed barrel situation, and with that fixed barrel gives you much more accuracy between shots. Also, you got your dial type hop up right there, just kind of below where my finger is. You can actually make your hop-up adjustments there. They recommend up to 22.5 BBs in their manual, but you can definitely hop up heavier BBs. 0.3s are no problem with this thing. Also using their kind of a reddish orange polymer here for the gas system internally. So like the air nozzle assembly, like that is all kind of an orange plastic, which is just interesting. I think it's just kind of their little touch. But to put this back together, just do this, put it back together, and then I go find the piece that's off camera. All right, piece is recovered. We're gonna pop it back in. There we go. We're all good. And that kind of covers your internals on this. They do have a brass inner barrel for those that are curious, and the trigger and some of the internal components are Marui spec. So if you want to do some trigger work on this thing, do some upgrades, get some parts, you can get any TM upgrade parts that work for a single stack 1911, and it should work just fine inside of here. All right, last but not least, they do give you this in the box. It's a 14mm thread adapter. It actually threads internally inside of the existing barrel. Let me put this thing on, screw it in, and now it gives you the ability to attach a suppressor on here because it's 14mm counterclockwise threads it gives you now. If you don't want it, you can ditch it. It's cool, and I like that they do it. However, most of this is made of an aluminum material. This is made of steel. It's a different material. You can definitely tell that. They did put some flat sides on here, so if you get it jammed in there, it gives you an area to use a wrench and not mar this thing up and actually get it off, which is nice. Because when you put it on and you put the suppressor on, you're actually gonna be threading this thing on extra tight, and it could be tough to get off or remove either either from getting stuck inside your suppressor or stuck in the barrel. And by having those two little flat sides that are on either end there, using like a nice, like a crescent wrench, so you don't have to use like a pair of pliers that have teeth, and get it off nice and smooth and help you work through it. I'm glad they thought of that little detail. It's kind of a nice one to have, and a little bonus there. Just kind of thinking forward for one of those common problems you have. So taking it out to the chrono, we see actually a little bit lower numbers than we'd expect. Normally you think over 300 for a pistol, but in this case it's a little lower, but that is because you do have the Revo system. If you want to change that, you can, and that is the coolest part about this pistol, is you're not stuck with the power level that the factory gives you. You can actually make some adjustments up and down, and if your field has certain limits or rules, with a very simple adjustment of a flathead screwdriver, you can adjust that power level, and that makes it so nice and versatile of a pistol. So if you play outdoors, let's say, and you want to have a little extra power for that accuracy at range, you can totally do that. And if you play indoors and you need to dial it down even to 300 or below, it's no problem there. Also, that's going to give you more shots per gas fill. So maybe you're only filling your mag once every 2 BB loads, which is pretty darn cool. In fact, like I said, if you watch my video on the impasse system and even the Korth, you'll see how many shots you get out of a mag on this. They've done a pretty good job with the gas efficiency. I think it's one of the more impressive feats they've done with their pistol. If I'd be a little critical, I would say the only downside is because of the way they do the actual barrel and locks in place, which gives you this unbelievably smooth slide action. It's like it's been lubed by angels. It's just crisp. I mean, it really is crisp, and you could feel it when you shoot. I love it. The only downside is, and I think this is just a personal preference, is you get a little bit of that rattle because of how it's going to float back here. Because they're allowing it to lock in place, they can give it a little more back here so it's smooth. They don't have to like cramp it down. There's no point of drag. So because they've made it so smooth, because they made it work that way, the trade-off is a little bit of rattle. But if you've ever held a real pistol, they have that too. So again, I think a lot of people get kind of jaded when it comes to airsoft, thinking, oh, it's gotta be everything just perfect in there. But in the real world, it has some rattle as well. So anyway, those are my thoughts on it, and I'm curious to hear yours. Is this something you might be wanting to pick up if you're looking for something? I know it's not like the coolest, newest, licensed whatever, but taking the technology they put in the Korth, which is one of their licensed pistols, into something that isn't, and offering it with some Tokyo Marui compatibility, the adjustable power level, the adjustable trigger, the fixed barrel for accuracy. I think they put a lot of good parts into a complete package here. And for those that are looking for like a commander style 1911 pistol that just works, this may be a good one for you to consider. So let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on this. Have you seen these pop up at your local shop? They are quite new. Have you had a chance to use the Korth that is kind of the predecessor to this one? Are you looking forward to seeing what they've done to step up since that one? And also, if you're gonna be picking one of these up. Also, if you wanna learn more about this, I will have a link in the description below that'll kind of take you over to a site so you can check out like current pricing and things like that, because as the time of this video, they haven't quite released it, so I don't have that number for you, so you can get an idea of that and any spec changes that may have happened since we recorded, but I don't foresee that because this is a final version. I mean, I got it in full retail packaging, so it's not like it's a pre-production test version. So until next time, go out, play some airsoft, drop a thumbs up on this video because it helps YouTube with the algorithm, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.